This is Pod Populi.
Podcast for the people.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
Hi again, everyone. It's Brian Howie. Welcome to the Great Love Debate, the world's #1 dating and relationship podcast. Since 2015, we are back here in the very fine studios of Pod Populi, podcast for the people. I am at the one in Boca Raton, Florida. I have somebody she's been on this podcast before. She is a native of Boca Raton, Florida. More importantly, she's the host of The Connector, and she is going to either give us some tips on why we should connect better or going to answer something. So I have something I'm going to get into, and I wanted her here for a specific reason.
Oh,
Hi, welcome back.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Boca Raton means what?
The mouth of the rat.
Yeah, it's strange, right? Do you know why it's called the mouth of a rat?
Because it looks like a rat.
From like the overhead shot. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how they knew that when they named it, because
Yeah,
they
I
didn't have
don't-
satellites then.
I didn't think they had planes then.
They didn't have drones then.
They didn't have a lot
Somehow
of
they were
stuff.
able to chart it.
That's
and It looks
amazing.
like the mouth of a rat. Now, I've looked at the coastline here many, many times. I don't see it.
No,
I don't see it at all.
I don't either. I've lived here my whole life and I don't see it.
I don't
know.
see it. Like, I looked, I'm like, what angle is this that this is a rat? I don't really know.
But I like it. Sounds pretty, Boca Raton.
So I was thinking, it sounds pretty, unless you're Hispanic, and then you know that does not sound pretty
pretty.
at all. They're like, that doesn't sound
Kind of
pretty.
gross.
So
Not want to go there.
somebody asked me, they're like, God, you must hear some dumb things at the shows that you do. And I'm like, oh my God, I hear some of the dumbest things. So I wanted to go through some of these dumb things because they're all rooted in the same thing. They are all rooted in our failure to either connect, either to recognize an opportunity, either to act one, or completely snuff them out. Okay? And you are the connector, and you believe that there are, everybody has a story to tell, everybody has somebody, you're a networking queen.
I love people.
You love people. So you start with a place of, I love people, and then they have to sort of, your default is love, and then they have to do something terrible to get out of the
Yes.
pool. Is that right? That's a better way to go through life. I come from a place of like, oh my God, please don't talk to me, which is not good.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, they don't date because there's fear-based dating. I've been burned by too many people suck, I don't like this, nobody's entertaining, and it goes on and on and on. It's not a really good place to be. How does one who does not operate from a place of, and my friend Howard's here too, he operates from a place of love, and he loves people.
Okay.
Somebody who's not there, you can't just wave a wand and been like, I'm going to start with love, and then they have to do something to vote themselves off of Love Island here. You have to be born that way, right? Or did you become that way? Did somebody teach you how to see the good in all possibilities?
That's a great question. That's why we're on the Great Love Debate. I think I've started to really appreciate people. And I think, like, honestly, like, I would say Seinfeld really gave me that appreciation for people, right? Like, you look at life and you look at people.
Seinfeld is the Jewish guru who says this. Wait, Seinfeld's show is built around awful people.
Yeah, but it's the funny things that we do in life, right? Human beings, we do really funny things in life.
Now, you went from boldly declaring 45 seconds ago, I loved people, to somehow you downgraded it to appreciate, just like that.
No, I love humans. We are a fascinating species.
Can you appreciate them and not love them?
Isn't it very similar?
I don't know. What do you appreciate
I guess.
about them?
Okay, it's a little downgrade.
It's a huge downgrade.
Well,
It's what do you appreciate about humans?
no, I love how quirky we are, right?
See, I tolerate humans. It's the old line that people hate humans and love animals. Yeah. You know, that's the thing about that. How quirky we are. So you look at it as quirky. I look at it as
like,
batshit crazy.
Like, I think people are fascinating. I think they're just like, I love observing people. I think people, like, we have this in common. This is like why we're friends.
I went to a parade last year, and I'm like, this is insane. We were just standing here watching people walk by. We could do that every day.
Right? Fascinating. That's why people
But
are fascinating.
why do we go to a parade to do that? You could just literally go stand on a sidewalk and do the same thing.
Because humans are just,
We need a
Interesting.
trombone
Yeah.
to watch people walk by.
we create these like weird situations and funny things that we do
Okay.
in life, right? Like we like a lot of the things that we normally do. It's just funny, right?
So I'm gonna give up 5 things that we don't do. Examples that have come up at the Great Love Debate where people took themselves out of this realm of possibilities to connect with somebody. The number one is going to be me. I'm going to use Brian Christopher Howie as an example of something is wrong with me that I went through this process. So a couple months ago, I rented a car. Okay. I rented a car from Enterprise. Enterprise's whole business is built around, we will pick you up. Okay. So if you're within 5 miles, Enterprise will pick you up wherever you are, bring you to the car rental place and give you a car.
Lovely.
I thought about that and I'm like, maybe I should get an Uber because the Enterprise guy, if he picks me up, he's definitely going to talk to me. And the Uber guy, it was like 50-50 shot that he'll talk to me. So I'm like, I would rather pick up the cost to get there out of fear that the Enterprise guy picked me up. And then as I started to think about it, I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to talk to the Uber guy. I walked like 2 miles just because I couldn't bear a 2-minute ride with the Enterprise guy or the Uber guy. And I thought, that's terrible. That's terrible.
And you came up with option
C. So once I got to B, I'm like, that doesn't sound better either. Because I've written to Uber many times, like, can't there be a default do not talk to passenger thing?
Okay. I think this should be a real thing. Like when you go to the
there
spa.
should be So same with go to get a haircut. I got a haircut. All I remember, people like, I like your haircut. And all I remember is like, I hated the experience because she didn't shut up. What'd you do this summer? Just go there.
Yeah.
But I think I'm wrong. I think I'm bad.
I think this is a very important thing that we should actually have on services that they only do it on spa services. And I think
silent option. I think Uber has silent ride, but it's like in beta. It's not fully evolved.
How could it be in beta? It's a very simple thing to do.
I know. I don't.
Silence.
I think they're. I know. So you agree that the Enterprise rental car guy who picked me up, he absolutely would talk to me.
Oh yeah.
So car in the shop? Like I didn't. And I'm like, I don't.
What happened? What'd you do?
I couldn't bear that at 8:30 in the morning. That's terrible.
I would have chosen that conversation over the Uber driver conversation because the Uber driver conversation, you never know where it's going to go.
But you wouldn't have even thought about it. And that's the problem with me is I thought.
Yeah, I would have never thought about
not free ride. Like, oh my God, stranger, how far is this? How many words will I have to say to this? That's awful. And I agree. So I'm putting myself at the top of this list.
It's really hysterical. Like,
not
really
good.
Hysterical.
But there was a woman who came to our show in New York City last year. And you've been to the Great Love Debate. And we talk about approaching people and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, if I am approached by anyone in a public space, I am a victim. And I go, what are you a victim of? And she goes, I'm a victim of otherism. And I go, what the hell is otherism? And she goes, it means that you singled me out somehow as different, which is why you chose to talk to me. And I go, well, what if they singled out because they found you attractive? She goes, that means that I'm different from everybody else. And I felt.
Wow.
And so there was this murmur in the crowd, like, ooh, but it was also New York City. So people opened all kinds of nutty nonsense. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, there's no circumstance in life. So I said, like, well, what if a waiter comes over and offers you a menu? He subs you out because you don't have a menu yet. Are you different? She's like, that's different. But a stranger talking to me in public. But then I thought, like, as insane as this is, I'm just as bad. If somebody just talked to me without a good reason, that's not good either.
People can't just be friendly to you.
They can. They should be. You're right. They can be friendly to them. I'm worried. Do I have to be friendly back? And so this woman is like, why did you sing? So we're 1 degree of separation. So as much in a moment, I'm like, you're fucking crazy. I'm like, no, Enterprise ride too.
Yeah.
Right. We had another woman who came to our show in Hollywood.
Okay.
And she's like, I don't want to be talked to by any man outside. You have to connect with me online first. My space outside in the world is my private bubble. And communication, I want all communication to be done electronically, and then I will decide from there who I want to move out into the real world.
It's a little close-minded.
It's like, what were you doing for the last 27 years of your life? Like, were you okay then? Again, I'm not sure she's that far from me either. So these people come into this, and I'm like, you're in a room full of, there's 200 people in this at this show, and I'm like, I'm talking to you, and she's like, you're entertaining me. I'm like, I don't think I am, first of all. And I'm like, can I come up to you? Can I approach you with the bar? She's like, no. Why would you? And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, that's not good.
But I'm like, what are we doing? And then I'm like, oh my God,
I'm creating the whole thing.
I might be worse. I took the stairs, 4 flights of stairs when I lived in New York City versus the elevator. Not a fitness routine. It's because I didn't want to get stuck in the elevator talking to anybody.
But you have a good fitness routine because you avoid people.
No, it's great. Walk around. Yeah. I know. It's good. Very fit, avoiding everybody. But I'm going to give you a couple more examples.
Please.
I got to take a quick break. I'm here with Arielle Leavitt. We're talking about the connector, or I'm probably the disconnector. We'll be back right after this. We are back. We were talking about the art of disconnection, I think. Another example.
I think you really have that covered, by the way, the art of disconnection.
Yeah, I think so.
You really...
Take those stairs.
I'm really impressed with this, actually.
I don't understand why if we sit next to each other on a plane, because I'm B and you're C, that we have to talk.
I decide if I want to or not.
Yeah,
so
there should be a button on there.
Headphones.
How about those people now they have games? Like, I want to play a game with somebody in 26C.
Oh.
That's insane.
That's weird.
Write something. Go write something. But we had this, so this woman came to our show in Chicago. And she said that she shared an Uber pool with a guy. Do you know what Uber pool is? They have that again. I think they've brought that back. It's like a shared ride.
Yeah.
She really liked the guy in the car or found him attractive.
That's cute.
She couldn't wait to get home and find him on Tinder to try and make a connection.
Too much work.
She thought that turning her head right in real life was too scary, that she needed to go home and find swipe right, that she needed some sort of positive affirmation of technology between them, because saying hello in real life was weird. It was too forward.
This is a great segue into what I wanted. I thought of this when you were talking about this. Yesterday, my friend and I were at Whole Foods, and we're walking into Whole Foods. We see this guy about our age, and he walks past us. We're walking into Whole Foods. He walks past us. I want to give a good visual.
Is that it? Is that the good visual? Where are the melons?
There's no melons or pumpkins right now.
There's no melons or pumpkins? What kind of Whole Foods is this?
Pumpkins.
There's pumpkins.
Yeah,
okay.
no melons.
I want the full visual.
Okay, no melons, just pumpkins outside of Whole Foods. We're almost into Whole Foods. We're not like passing. He's coming out. We're going in.
I know that spot.
He's dark hair, tall, nice, attractive man. Pass by him, and then we hear, "Hey, excuse me." And so we turn around, and he goes, "Can I just ask you?" I'm like, "What? What's happening here?" He goes, "Can I text you?" And to my friend, he says this to my friend, and she was like, "Sorry, no, I'm married," and she's truly married. Like, she has 2 kids, married, and he's like, "Oh, okay, great," and she's like, "Sorry, thank you, have a good day." And I thought that was a very direct and forward way of doing it. Like, he was to the point. He was to the point.
Why can't he text her?
She's married.
So married people can't be texted?
From a stranger that is passing by, I think there's a little bit more of a situation.
Maybe he wanted to mow her lawn. Was there anything beyond that? He just went to strangers and said, "Can I text you?"
So I was actually really confused at what happened at first.
Yeah, I feel like you're not painting the whole picture of what's going on at Whole Foods.
That's literally what happened. And at first I was like, does she know him? Like, do they know each other? And I got a little confused, but she's visiting in town. She does not know.
So he just goes up to strangers and says, "Can I text you?"
Yeah, it was very...
He's talking to her right now. Well, say what she just said. "Tell me right now, what do you want to say?" That's ridiculous. That's a different thing. I don't think the fact that she was married.
It was direct.
Here's my direct way to ask you if I can indirectly contact you.
He was direct about it. He didn't go stalk her on Tinder. Well, not that she's on Tinder, but he didn't go stalk her.
Stalk her. So another example, because I've brought this up in life before. If you hold a door now for 10 women, 5 will say thank you.
Okay.
3 will just walk in and not say thank you.
Okay.
And 2 will get mad that you held the door because it symbolizes to her that you think she's weaker and she could have gotten the door herself. So the men now are like...
They don't know what to do.
Well, because you're like, don't offend the outlier. And that's not even an outlier. That's 2 out of 10. That's 20%. Don't offend them. What do I do? Everybody just got to get their own door. And I think, first of all, a lot of women don't recognize that that's the environment that's out there. Don't hold the door because you need to thank you. Hold the door that you want because you want to. But if you have to deal with 2 out of 10, which is low, it might even be higher in San Francisco or New York, and you're going to be like, I offended you because me grabbing the door made you feel like I thought I did a physical assessment on you and I think you're weak, where are we?
I think people are getting too emotionally upset about things these days. I think we're coddling people too much. We're catering towards the outliers. Well, the non-outliers, the 20%.
I agree, but then I'm putting myself in that, like I need Uber to rewire their whole app because I'm the outlier. So part of what I'm getting at is like, I can't really complain about these people with weird social things when I'm out here on Freak Island
No, but
myself.
I think some of the things that you're saying, like the Uber thing, like if you have some work to do, but you could have just said to the driver, excuse me, I just have a couple of things.
Work mode. Yeah.
I have a couple things I need to get done.
I'm not as bad as the people who like fake accents and deafness to get out of avoiding it. I'm not as bad as them. But yeah.
Politely declining,
but we all need, my point of all of this is, and you're the connector, we all have little ways that we are taking ourselves out of the pool of possibilities. Whether they are habits, whether they are beliefs, whether they're rituals, or whether we're just ignorant about things around us, we all have to do a little bit better. So I'm singling out these people plus me and saying that, but I bet if we broke it down all the time, I was a guest on your podcast one time, many, many moons ago, like an hour and a half ago. And you said something like, how do you say no to somebody? And I, for somebody who's very sort of introverted and aloof, if somebody invites me to something, I'm almost always going to go because I'm flattered by the invite. And you're like, you, who's very out there and very social, you do some sort of assessment on what is this going to be fun? Am I going to meet anybody? I don't think that's better either.
Well, I think, is it going to be like truly like energizing, right? Like, is
for
it
who? I think if I'm there, it's going to be energizing for all of them. They're going to be blessed with my presence. I'm not like, what can I get out of these people? Because I go into assuming I'm not going to get anything out of these people.
Yeah, but
my default is people are not.
When you go to an event, though, I think the question is to ask is like, just put it out there. What great connection am I going to make today?
What about, will there be hors d'oeuvres? I mean, is that I'm like, what's on the menu? Is there a buffet? I used to go to the Playboy Mansion a lot in my swinging Hollywood days. And I would go for a while just because of the food there. They had like 4-inch shrimp. Like, it was so good. They always had good food. Because at the end of the day, most of these guys who are going there, they're not going to talk to these girls anyway.
They're just there to eat.
Strike out. So they have to make it somewhat pleasant. The buffet was fantastic.
So there's just the shrimp?
There's everything. There's like a tower of food. And I'm like, I would just go for the buffet. And then I'm like, what am I going to get out of this event? Would you like to come to Playboy Mansion? Yes, because there's food.
Well, you know they're going to be good food.
Yeah.
Good 4-inch shrimp.
Right. Is there women there? Probably not connecting with them. So I think you look at yourself as Miss Social and everybody's fine. And people are humans are great. But when you get invited to an event, a wedding, a date, or whatever, you do some quick math in your head. Will this behoove me?
Yeah,
I do quick math in my head being like, why do they want me there? And I like that they wanted me there.
You want to feel desired.
Yeah. That's a secondary Brian Howie mental problem. But yes, as I said that if somebody invites me to their wedding, I'm like, they want me there on the most special day of their lives. I will fly around the world. I will be there, gift in hand. And I said that to you earlier, and you're like, do you want to bring somebody? I'm like, why?
So yeah, no, because
I don't want to talk to I'm going because I look at the wedding, which is also third Brian Howie problem. I look at it as I'm the guest of honor at this event.
Oh.
I know. I'm probably third behind bride and groom, maybe fourth behind maid of honor, fifth. Yeah,
I think you're
probably not.
Probably like
but
98th.
I'm on the B list, the A people. But I think my way of looking at it is they want me there. I'm part of this show.
It's nice to feel desired.
Is that wrong? I mean, is that wrong? Is that
I'm
a
going to
weird
go
way
a little narcissistic, but it's good. Yeah.
But it's positive narcissism.
Yeah.
I mean, in a good way, it's like they wanted me there. I must add something to this melange of personalities.
A good gift. We know you give good gifts now.
I'm the gift. I'm here.
Plus your lotto tickets.
Yeah. And I give lotto tickets. So I think that's a good for all the, oh my God, I go about life the wrong way.
Yeah.
And for all you, like, oh, everybody's wonderful or whatever, I think a little bit of that is distant.
I don't know if I say...
If you blanket everybody as awesome, you're not really getting to the nuance.
I don't think everybody's wonderful.
You said I love everybody.
I love people.
I think you're saying people, you're putting yourself at this 5,000 foot level of, here are the people, and I look at everybody individually. Most of them are going to be terrible and add absolutely nothing to my life.
I'm putting myself in those people.
In which people?
And I love people.
Yeah, that's too general for me. That's a 5,000 foot view of the world. I think every situation, person has to be assessed for the moment. Mm-hmm. And I think, is there positive in everybody? Yes. Is there something to be gained out of every single encounter or networking thing?
You can learn something.
Yes. I think if you go on a date with somebody, even if you're not meant to be, I hope you learn something. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I think that we do not ask the one extra question. I think that we don't take the one extra step. Like if somebody says, do you want me there? Or would you like to come to this? Not just instantly, let me check my schedule, or will this be fun for me? Or can I connect with somebody? Or, oh my God, I'm gonna have to talk to people. Like that's not good either. They must have had a reason to think I would want to go. Mm-hmm. I have to believe that they didn't just spam the phone book and ask everybody to go. So it's like, what did they see in me that either A, thought I would get something out of it, or B, I would add something to it? And I think that's not a terrible way to look at things versus just yes or no, do I want to go?
No, but add something to it. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think I add something to everything. Except the Uber ride. I add nothing to the Uber ride.
Except for a good
I guess my point on all this is whether we connect or disconnect, we all do things that we don't get out of our comfort zone. We give lazy answers to things. We try and avoid anything that makes us even the slightest bit uncomfortable, whether it's that girl in the Uber or the person who said she's subjected to otherism, or it's me not taking the free ride. Like all of us need to do a bit better of sort of volleyball style, sort of rotating our world into this box that we might not have been in before. And if we do that, I think, boom, the perspective changes and everything can change.
Yeah, I think it's stepping out of your comfort zone, right? There's growth in comfort, and not in comfort. There's growth in feeling uncomfortable.
There's growth in the unknown. As that sentence that we got out of, and originally came from my producer of this show, the 2-time Emmy Award-winning Keiko. There's magic in maybe. And if I looked at it like, maybe he won't talk to me, and then I will get over my fear of free rides from Enterprise or Uber, or maybe he will, and it will be awesome, and it will be a connection. Maybe that the whole food scenario among the pumpkins, whatever, is like, can I text you? If she just said, what do you want to text me? And he'll be like, the secret to life. Well, maybe there was a possibility that it wasn't dick pics. You know, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was pumpkin recipes. But even after, did you think about that? You were among pumpkins in the fall.
Among a lot of
pumpkins. And he was inspired to say, may I text you pumpkin recipe? So her quick, no, I'm married. But she didn't say, no, I'm married.
No, but after we started talking about it, assessing that whole interaction, we were both like, wow, that was really impressive that he had the guts and the to be able to do this and just like go up to somebody and say, like, we were really impressed with that. No, I'm not. That's another thing. Like, I'm not impressed with that because he had her face to face. Yeah. He took action on it. He could have walked right past her and then thought I could have walked later.
Right. So the choices were walk right past her
and think, oh, it would have been nice to text her,
walk right by, ask to text her, or actually stop and talk to her in real life.
Okay, so you think he should have had a different opening?
No, I think that it's terrible that he thinks that he had better odds to talk to her device to device than face to face. He literally was in the same room with her. Why do you need to text her?
You think he should? Well, what do you think an opening? By the way, I think we discussed this on my episode, and we didn't discuss this on yours. So I just feel like your listeners might be a little off. Like
what? The pumpkins? No, we're discussing it now. Don't confuse my
the
listeners.
The storyline of how this happened.
The storyline of, I don't know how it happened, nor do I care, nor do the listeners. My point is, if somebody's like, can I text you when you is no different from the girl who had the guy in the Uber and he wouldn't turn her head right.
No,
like he had a moment. The only goal out of all of us is to have a moment where you are face to face with the person you want to communicate with. And he chose to waste his communication on trying to find an alternative form of communication.
Yeah, but there's no like small talk. It was like, I'm interested in you. Can I get your number?
So you didn't say that. I'm interested in you. Can I get your
It was
number?
there. It was there.
Well, did he say that?
No, but it's implied.
See, I wouldn't make that implication. Can I get your number without anything? He just went right to, can I get your number?
Okay, I was a little taken aback with the whole thing because I felt a little like it took me.
See, that's too much.
It took me a little minute to register like what just happened.
He should have picked up a small pumpkin, should have walked over to her and said, "Can I barbecue this?" And then she would have had to answer him because it would have been like whatever her answer was, and then wade into the pool of text communication. Mm-hmm. So props to him for kind of making a move.
Yeah. He wasn't the girl in the taxi or whatever.
No, he wasn't the girl in the taxi. Like, I agree with all of that. You're right. We're all bad. None of us are perfect. Even the connector herself. We all are a little like, what? We're all trying to guess where this moment, this encounter, this conversation, this relationship will lead. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're better off not knowing. We're almost always better off not knowing and just taking a chance on and not thinking the unknown is bad. I could have the most wonderful conversation of my life with the Uber guy if I chose not to walk.
And I think that goes for everything. Don't like look at the outcome or don't try to focus on the outcome.
Right.
And go with the journey, right? Like go with the moment in time.
Right. I have to be like, in 2 miles, what's the worst that is going to happen for me to go from, because it was clearly close enough for me to walk.
Yeah.
It was a good walk, but it wasn't, lugging a bag. But I'm like, what would the downside have been? And it would have been like, hey, here's a discount because you were such a good person. There was all sorts of up possibilities. And I looked at the one possibility that I didn't like or made me uncomfortable and that they would bore me, which is ridiculous. Like how bored are you going to be in 3 minutes?
That they would bore you?
Yeah.
But see, then you find entertainment in a lot of things.
I know, and I also find boredom in a lot too. You look at people as they're love and amazing. I look at most people as terribly boring and terribly bored.
See, that's so funny.
Which is why they're on their devices all the time, because they're bored.
I see you, and I think you look at people as entertainment. I think you look at people.
That's distant, though. That is a distance. That is an emotional distance if you look at them as entertainment. That's not good either. You should look at people as possibilities to enhance your being and your life and your day and your moment, not, oh my God, I'm going to make some jokes.
There's a reason somebody came into your life for that moment in time.
I think so. Like, why was this person right in front of me amongst the pumpkin patch at Whole Foods?
What could you have learned from that whole situation?
What could I have learned? What could I have done better? We all need to do things. We can't look at ourselves as, why was I singled out, or why was I put in this moment, or why was I... So I... Great love listeners, am doing the work to try and self-evaluate and admitting like that's a bad way to go. Mm-hmm. I think everybody has to look at like, what am I looking at every encounter or situation or connection as?
How can I learn from it?
How can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? And most importantly, how can I make better, deeper connections from situations that I would have thought were nothing? Mm-hmm. So
I agree.
Give me one, normally, you've been on this podcast before, I think you played worst date or first date, but I'm going to give you something. Give me one connection, one situation where you're like, I didn't want to go, I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to talk to this person, and then suddenly, oh my God, I would have missed out on this conversation, person, sentence, encounter, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I unfortunately can't think of a specific moment in time, but I can say there has been times where I have decided I'm like, I don't really feel like going to something. I have gone and I have, right before I go into that event, this is what I do is like, like I say, just like, I just want one good connection. I'm excited to see who is going to come out with this. Who am I going to connect with? What cool, interesting connection am I going to make this time? And I think just going into that with that mindset, even if it's like maybe not the most exciting venue that you want to go to or whatever it is, it just helps ease those things.
Have you ever been on a date and had your date say, you know what, I wasn't expecting to have this much fun or to like you that much, and I did? Have you ever had that happen? Mm-mm. See, I've had that happen, and I don't focus on the positive. I focus on, I'm like, what do you mean? What were you expecting? Why wouldn't you expect this to be awesome? I'm offended by that.
Yeah,
I'm like, what do you mean you didn't expect this? You didn't come into this like, this is not your best outfit. You didn't come into this thinking like, oh my God, I can't wait to go out. They're like, no, I didn't think I'd like you.
That's interesting.
I want to know why. Why did you not? I don't focus on that I did like you. I'm like, why in the world did you think you wouldn't like me?
I'm amazing. I'm Brian Howard.
That's my mental problem too. All right, tell everybody where they can find The Connector and make connections.
On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. My name is Arielle Leavitt. I'm so excited I was here. Thank you, Brian, for having me on again. I really enjoy our time together. And you can listen to The Connector.
See, we connected. As far as us, as always, not just The Connector, but us, like, share, follow, and please review this podcast. Your reviews mean a lot in the podcasting ecosystem. Go to greatlovedebate.com. There may or may not be some shows on there. I'm still supposed to do a Great Love Debate in Croatia. I'm working out the logistics. Maybe. It's a long way to go for one show. We'll see. Shoot me an email, greatlovedebate@gmail.com, with all your questions, thoughts, missed connections, or trials and tribulations among the pumpkins. Because as always, at the Great Love Debate, we never stop making love. See you next time.